Honestly, there really are only 3 skills that you need to be a successful lawyer.
For people who have this perception of what a lawyer is actually doing on like a day-to-day basis.
The best lawyers will get better results on cases. When I took the bar, I was told 80% of people pass it on their first attempt.
Lawyers can be shady.
People can't even hardly fathom the chasm between the spectrums on different law type jobs.
Is it required to go to law school in order for you to pass the bar?
You only need a bar license if you're in an active practice of law capacity.
How are you guys leveraging AI? Thanks for coming to on the podcast, the Where to Get Started podcast. I think this is awesome to have you here. You are a lawyer.
Don't hold that against me. Can we not start with that?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah. This won't be a boring episode, I promise. So you're a lawyer. You work for Nuttall, Brown & Coots, which ultimately bottles up to ZAF Legal. We'll get into that a little bit on kind of tell me about the structure, but have never had a lawyer on the podcast before.
No, first time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even have a lawyer on the back end reviewing our content.
I mean, they don't have to know that.
I mean, we may.
We might now. Maybe this relationship will have Tyler helping us out. No,
That's just what you need, a personal injury lawyer.
Yeah.
That's right. Reviewing your compliance.
Yeah. Yeah, so you are a personal injury lawyer. So tell us about, let's take a short little bit, maybe a couple minutes on like how you got to become a lawyer. Let's talk about like your history, your background. Is this something that you've always wanted to do? I feel like a lawyer is something that when your teacher says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" You're like, "I want to be a lawyer," right? Yeah. It's kind of one of those roles. So tell us about how you got here.
It is. My dad's a lawyer, and so that influence was ultimately what drew me to it. And I think I also have a lot of the same natural-born traits that he has: passion for justice, wanting to kind of fight for what you believe and stand up for people. So all of those things, existed internally that drove me into the field. But his, I think just his influence was maybe the most significant thing drawing me towards the law. And then I remember, actually I have 2 kind of moments where I was like, okay, well then it's settled. One, I was at church on Sunday and I had this Sunday school teacher and he was asking me, he's like, "What are you going to do when you grow up?" And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll be a lawyer like my dad. And he was like, "Yeah, you should definitely do that. That's a great idea." And I was like, well, then okay. I guess I won't have to stress
I got confirmation from you. Okay.
So, some guy just said yes.
Yeah, Jake Hughley from the ward said I should. So obviously.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah. Shout out. And so that was one moment that actually, I mean, I still remember it. I'm practically an old man now with grown children and stuff. So yeah, that was actually an influential moment. And it just kind of felt right. So that was one. And then another time I was talking to my dad about his work, and I just remember asking him all about just case after case after case and about the people that were going through these hard times in their lives and the things he was doing to help them. And I was just like, I wanted to go help him do it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, these people need help. Like I should probably come. Like, you probably need my help, huh?
Yeah.
And so that was another time when I was like, okay, that's definitely what I want to do. And then once I got into law school and I started getting pushed towards what law schools push you towards, which is the most prestigious big law jobs that are out there. And BYU Law School, I mean, they do a good job at placement. And I was competitive in the class. And so there was a lot of pressure. Like, hey, you should take this interview with Holland and Hart. You should take this interview with Kirkland and Ellis, Jones Waldo, all these big firms. And ultimately, I didn't do one. I wasn't even tempted a little bit, but I did feel the pressure because I knew that's not what I wanted, right? There's a huge, people can't even hardly fathom the chasm between the spectrums on different law type jobs. My job is pretty family friendly. I choose all my own hours. I don't have a boss, right? But then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got close friends of mine who chose the big law route, and they've got hundreds of hours worked every single week since law school. That was 15 years ago. And it's still just trucking hard every day and managed pretty tightly. But that's what they like. I mean, they're compensated for it.
So what I'm curious a little bit. What type of lawyer was your dad? Was your father?
He is still a personal injury lawyer.
Oh, personal injury
with me.
well.
We work together.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
wow.
cool.
Okay, so personal injury lawyer.
I guess what types of lawyers are there?
I'm curious. Like when you're going to law school and you get these different like the as you're saying, like the
Yeah.
depth and breadth of law
This-
types
that's
and
a great,
choices. Yeah.
honestly, that's a great question,
Yeah.
actually. And I think for like a where to get started
Mhm.
concept, that's a really good question to be asking. The way I kind of divide the law is there are civil and criminal, and civil stuff is kind of like the everyday consumer stuff, like the stuff that you and I could run into in our lives. We could get in an accident and have an insurance claim or a bodily injury claim, property damage claim, like that kind of stuff.
Mm.
That's all personal injury related. And then you have other stuff like contract disputes. You could have like a domestic issue, like a divorce or custody thing. You could have an immigration thing come up. You could have, so let's see. Let's just see if I can hammer off a few here. We did immigration. We did domestic custody, divorce. Probate, so like when someone dies, what's happening with the estate? That's a whole big area that includes wills, trusts, estates. That's a big area, right? And then we have immigration, personal injury. That's in contracts. And then you have kind of the civil stuff that's more businessy, a lot of transactional work. This is where a lot of the big law jobs exist. It's finance, it's commercial real estate finance. And those jobs compensate really well. They're extremely, high demand.
Yeah.
Lots of hours poured in, but really good jobs out there for that. And then you have criminal, which is you've got like public defenders that are defending criminals. And then you've got like just criminal defense lawyers. In fact, Roger Nuttall, the founder of our firm, he and my dad, they were doing white collar criminal defense for a long time.
Yeah.
That's an interesting area of law.
Yeah.
And then you just have like you're prosecute. You work for the state. You're a prosecutor, AG, something, assistant AG. So those are that's to me the whole breadth of the law jobs that are out there. And then there's like the sneaky one that lives like underneath the belly of the beast, which is just like entrepreneurs. Lawyers make really good entrepreneurs because you get a lot of, to start a business, there's a lot of legal stuff that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so lawyers it's kind of it's more of a passport than a destination. That legal education is really valuable to start businesses.
I always like when I'm growing up, the ones you always see the ones on TV, right? When the TV ones are always like criminal, right? Yeah. Unless you get into certain shows, and then you'll occasionally see the corporate lawyer that will kind of pop their head in from time to time, but it's always within the context of breaking the law.
Yeah.
Right. They're always like going to
like
court
Jack
somehow.
Nicholson and Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Well, that one was a military.
Well,
But yeah.
No, it's true, but it's still criminal though. Yeah,
yes, technically.
Yeah, I have some friends who've gone into that kind of they're JAG officers, they're lawyers for the military.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Law and Order, and there's so many shows that come to mind. Okay,
Suits.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I love Suits. I watched that with my wife. She's watched it like twice.
I think we should make a personal injury one.
A personal injury show?
I think it would have to be more of like a sitcom.
Just all the crazy stuff that you guys
It's
do.
really, it's really comical. Like you'd be shocked at the calls I get. Like I get this one probably like 4 times a year, where someone will say, like they'll call up, "Hey Ty, I wonder if I got a case. I closed the car door on my newly surgically implanted breast augmentation. And now and my breast popped, and I think that's a product defect. I don't think it should do that. And that's a call. I get it like 4 times a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
How are these
people handling their vehicles?
Well, I guess when you're not used to like the clearance,
that might be fair. That's fair. You have a new clearance distance you have to take into consideration. It's not like you have like when you're driving under a bridge, they have like a measurement now.
For all those getting breast augmentations, be cautious when you close your door.
They're not used to their new size and or their G-Wagon, so it's
yeah, exactly.
I think that's the most valuable free advice that you might be getting today.
I think so. That's probably take it to the bank. Wow. Also, no lawyer's going to take that case.
That's
in case
hilarious.
You're wondering.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm curious if someone is thinking like they watch these shows, they see like they watch Suits or something, and they're like, it'd be cool to do something like that and be actually in the courtroom and talking and whatever else. Like, what are some skills that you would highly recommend? It's like, okay, if you're able to do X, Y, Z really well, or if you have, I don't know, whatever, what are those kind of like hard skills? Well, maybe let's go soft skills first. What are those soft skills that someone needs in order to be successful?
Honestly, there really are only 3 skills that you need to be a successful lawyer. And they go, in my mind, they go in this order. If you can write well, that's the most important thing. And it doesn't mean you have to be really good at writing today. It just means you have to be committed to learning how to write well. If you can write well, you'll be a successful lawyer in whatever field. That whole spectrum, if you're good at writing, you'll be a really good lawyer. So, and by the way, I wasn't a good writer. It was not natural for me. I had to work so hard to develop the skill. But now it is, I think, by far my strongest skill is writing. The next skill is ability to read. And of course, everyone can read. But no,
not everybody.
Yeah, let's not be presumptuous.
Literacy rates in America are actually much higher than they probably should be. But, yes.
but I mean like really read. Like you have to be able to plow through material, a lot of it. And if you can have the discipline to get through material quickly and retain, that's a super valuable skill. And it's one that I think is overlooked a lot in law school, especially the speed aspect. Because once you're working for clients, if you're slow getting through material, that's a lot of bills people are paying, and they're not seeing direct value for it. And so, I mean, I read probably too fast, and I mean, I'll go through thousands of pages of medical records in a day, no problem. And that has been a slowly developed skill, probably the hardest one for me. And then the third one is just ability to communicate clearly. I'd say it's not as important as the first 2. But if you want to be an oral advocate, you have to be able to think on your feet. And truth be told, even for trial lawyers, there's just not that much of it. Like it's
as much as they like to make it seem on television.
It's not every day. It's like kind of a special day when you get to talk and present a case.
Yeah,
usually you're writing to present a case.
So I'm thinking like you talked about reading thousands of pages a day, right? And then you're talking about like occasionally presenting. I'm thinking for people who have this perception of what a lawyer is actually doing on like a day-to-day basis, like help us understand, like, okay, this is what you will do. If you become a lawyer, like a lawyer is not just like, I'm going to court and we're going to stand here and talk. And then I go out of court and like you see on TV, and that's mostly what it is. So like what really does a lawyer do?
I think there's like the TV, what we see on TV, but then also like being in corporate. I've worked with a few lawyers on some of the contracts and stuff that I do in marketing. It's like, wow, your job looks really boring, and I would hate your job. And so it's like, okay, those are like 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. So I think Tyler's question.
Yeah, I'm just like what, like help people understand a little more about like what it is that you're actually doing most of the time.
Yeah. So for me, it's probably different than most because I knew I didn't want the boring contract review day in and day out job. It just wasn't going to be my jam. So for me, my day is pretty simple. I can walk you through it. I start out, I take my dog on a walk.
Yeah.
And then I have a hot tub cold plunge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sweet.
Yeah. In the office? No,
and then, right there in my office. And then, but no, when I get into the office, generally my day feels a lot more like just running a business than it does being just what you would think of with a lawyer. I would say less than half of my day is spent on casework. Most of my day is spent on business management and, figuring out, how are we doing on our lead gen? How many leads are coming in? Is the phone ringing? How much are we paying per lead? What's our conversion rate? How's our software working? And then I do all of our architecting on our software. So I spend time submitting support tickets to our dev team. And then I jump on the phones, and I'm on the phone a lot. My particular area of law, personal injury, if you're going to get into that, that's kind of like the one thing you have to be prepared for. It's just so much phone time. And you're talking to insurance adjusters and defense counsel and clients for hours every day. And that's probably the most tedious thing that I do, a lot of phone calls.
Okay.
Then I'm reviewing the records that are coming in for the clients I'm representing to kind of get a feel for the nature and extent of their injuries, because that determines the size of their case.
Right.
So I'm reviewing all these records and creating summaries, and then eventually we will put everything into a big, beautiful package. Sometimes we fill up bankers' boxes and ship them, because it's a kind of a dramatic effect.
Right.
This case lands at their door. And it's like, well, it's a big case.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to present the clear picture of what this person's gone through since their accident. Because if it's been rough, then they're to be made whole, it's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And so our job is to maximize their recoveries, and we do that. We do that pretty well.
So you said earlier, like, you got to learn how to read, especially if you're going through a lot of documents, and it takes time to read those documents. And then you said essentially paying for that time that you're reading. Are lawyers only paid by the hour?
That is such a good question. And the answer is no, even though most lawyers would be like, well, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the answer is heck no. And my advice to anyone getting into the law is try to avoid the billable hour if you can. Find a spot where you can work outside of a billable hour framework, because that is the most stressful, least enjoyable context to run your career from. I have a lot of friends who work in the billable hour space, which is probably most of the typical, like stereotypical law jobs.
Right.
They're billing hours. And guess what? Like, they complain about it all the time. And I'm like, guys, you chose this.
Yeah.
This was your choice. I don't bill any hours. All of my compensation is contingency fee based. So if I work a case for 5 years and we lose, I get nothing, right? But if I work a case for 1 month and we get $1 million, well, I get a third. So in every case, no matter what, we're taking home a third of the gross recovery for the firm. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I'm keeping track of my time. It's all results based. And so it's kind of eat what you kill, feast or famine type of a business. But it's a lot more pleasant than tracking every 6-minute interval of your day and logging it into your software system. Yeah.
I'm curious. So when I think about careers in general, right? In many ways, like, people will look at certain jobs and they have like a career track, right? Because we're talking right now about like how you make money and where the money comes from. In many cases, when you think about that, you're thinking about progression over time. And I think that there's like levels that people see or that they hear about, like, oh, you're an associate, you're a junior associate, you're a partner, whatever these terms are. What does, like, in your profession as a personal injury lawyer, like, what does a career progression look like for a lawyer in terms of like just out of college and kind of going through to where you would get as like being more like of a senior in that role?
Yeah. In personal injury, there are not a ton of personal injury jobs out there. So what you would be doing probably is starting out at an existing firm that's looking to hire, and you'd start out as a junior associate. And over time, if you're getting good results, you're likely to, progress into a more senior associate role, and then eventually a partner role. And how long that takes is anyone's guess. I think it varies a lot firm to firm. But in the big law jobs that are more corporate transactional, there's a very defined progression path, and it's always the same, and it's the same amount of time, and it's super predictable. In personal injury, it's more of just like, well, we'll keep the ringers, and if we think we're going to lose them, we'll make them a partner. And,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. My firm's really small, right? There are only 3 lawyers. It's my dad, and then Brian Coots and me. It's a really small firm. We probably will need to hire another lawyer in the next 12 months.
So if anyone's looking,
yeah, you want to be a personal injury lawyer.
Nettle Brown and Coots.
Yeah.
I am curious though, like, we hear that term like partner, and like, what does that even really mean?
Yeah, it usually means that you're sharing in profits.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whereas prior to being a partner, you're not sharing in profits at all.
So associates, you're usually like getting some sort of either base salary plus a bonus depending on the structure.
Exactly. There are more typical comp plans. It's usually a salary plus kind of comp plan, salary plus bonus comp plan, and then once you're a partner, you're sharing profits.
In terms of like overall equity for the whole, like in terms of the organization as a whole.
You become either, depending on the legal structure of the firm, you become either a shareholder or an equity holder, and I guess equity is a broader term. So yeah, basically you're a profit. You have a profit sharing interest or an actual equity interest.
But the whole purpose of this podcast, the educational side.
Yeah,
we have various degrees of listeners, so I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to
for sure
understand how that works. Okay, no, that's good.
I'm curious about. Okay, so it's year 2026 right now at the time of this recording. AI is a big thing, right? And when you were saying like you gotta learn how to write well, read well, and it's a lot of hours, and you're reviewing documents, and you're like, you said you went through thousands of pages of like health documents and records, and I thought, okay, does he then have to understand every single medical term that he's reading in order to have like an accurate understanding of those documents? And then it's like, okay, does a lawyer then have to have a medical degree, which, you know, that would be kind of nice to have if you're reading those documents, but it seems like it's not really necessary. How are you guys leveraging AI, or what's the influence of AI in a lawyer's world? Because I would assume someone could just like, hey, here's all these documents. Like, okay, cool, take the document, put it in AI, and then just like summarize a document for me. But maybe that's not the case.
Another super on point question, like super on point. Yeah, I mean, if the basic skills that make lawyers successful are writing, reading, and then articulating, AI is actually super good at all three of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so at the most fundamental level, AI is the best thing to ever happen to the practice of law, because it will enhance the skills of every lawyer and make it easier for us to write well, read fast, comprehend, and articulate. And so every lawyer should be, in my mind, really excited about AI and the way it can impact their practice. But the opposite is the prevailing feeling. It feels, I think, and maybe it's just a feeling of threaten. You know, it's just threatening.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, I guess you can understand that. If an AI is better at reading, writing, and articulating than you are, then
For sure.
Yeah. And I do feel that. But to me, it's such an opportunity. The reason it gets really hairy, though, is because it gets messy with the model rules of professional conduct, which are the rules of ethics governing lawyers. Lawyers built these rules of ethics. The outwardly professed goal of these rules of ethics are to protect the public.
Yeah.
It's a consumer protection scheme to regulate conduct of lawyers to be in the interest of the public. However, if you actually read those rules, what you find is generally the rules of ethics skew towards protecting the lawyers from market forces. It's things like non-lawyers can't have an ownership interest in a law firm because obviously non-lawyers are way unethical and super greedy.
It's
and
right.
they don't care about the public.
Sure.
So thank heavens we've kept them out of the law, right? So it's things like that. And there are, of course, some rules of ethics that are very clearly tied to public interests. Things like maintaining client confidentiality, privilege,
Right.
That kind of stuff. There are important aspects, but a lot of the rules of ethics are born out of fear of competition and protecting lawyers from outside forces. AI is a massive outside force, and lawyers are kind of trying to shield themselves from it. And I sit on the Supreme Court's regulatory committee on AI, and we're working on recommendations to the court about how to regulate AI in the practice of law. And I think what we see in a lot of other states, and what I think our committee is sort of moving towards, is basically a carve-out saying, look, people are already using AI to get help with their legal problems. Like, hey, write me a lease agreement.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
And so that's already happening. It's not being prosecuted as unauthorized practice of law. And so I think most states will eventually move towards a carve-out scenario where we say, hey, for people using AI, and it's clearly, marketed as an AI, they're not trying to say, this is a real lawyer.
Right.
It's not. Yeah, I think what we're going to see is just kind of a carve out saying that's not unauthorized practice of law. AI can be AI, and that's fine.
Yeah, and you said this is the Utah Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're talking about, so it's not illegal for me to write a contract. That's not against the law.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
but
that's
it's
great.
But it's like a weird gray space that we're trying to say, where the AI is like acting as a legal advice to create what would normally be a legal document for you, right? That's where this,
because if you have someone who offers legal services but they're not licensed to do it, that is unauthorized practice of law,
right?
But then you look at AI and you're like, it kind of feels like it's
does, right?
Yeah.
But actually, I think what the prevailing logic to say it's not practicing law is to just say it's basically a legal information platform that's just much more efficient and accurate than a typical library or web browser.
I just think of all these different like LLMs that you could probably set up and then just set bounds for them. And
and that's what we've done with ZAF Legal.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about so you are part of a firm that is within ZAF Legal. Does ZAF Legal, are they like nationwide? Do they own a bunch of other, like how?
Great question.
What's the structure look like?
So Nuttall, Brown & Coots is a Utah-based personal injury law firm. And about 5 years ago, when the Utah Supreme Court was like, hey, we really want to encourage innovation in the practice of law because there's this huge access to justice gap where people who need help are not getting it. Mm-hmm. So we're going to relax those rules of ethics I was talking about on a case-by-case basis to try and stir some innovation and get this stale industry pumping again. And when they announced that, we decided, hey, let's launch kind of a sister brand underneath Nuttall, Brown & Coots that is a technology-first, modern personal injury law firm. And the fundamental premise being most personal injury law firms don't want to assist people who are going down a DIY route because you're kind of helping them to not need your service.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the playbook on how to do a good job on your claim is like closed real tight. Lawyers don't want you to have it. And our thought was, well, we ought to just open the playbook and just like tell everyone, like, this is exactly how we would train our associates to work your case.
Mm-hmm.
And go and do it on your own if you want. But kind of their eyes are getting open as they go through the process of realizing like, oh, I don't have any leverage to enforce this claim if they don't treat me fairly because I don't actually know how to litigate the case.
Right.
And, they start having kind of these aha moments and it builds trust and eventually they'll turn the case over to us and it will increase our business. And there will be some people who successfully resolve their claim on their own without us. And
which is great.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Most people with claims already are doing it without a lawyer. And, so, we built this tool kit called ZAF Legal, zero attorney fees, right? People get on there for free. You chat with our AI assistant. You can get a case summary produced. It will instruct you kind of how to submit it to an insurance, just general information about how to do this claim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really successful. We thought that it would bring us a whole bunch more Utah cases, right? That was kind of the goal.
Yeah.
But it hasn't actually brought us as many cases as we had hoped. But we do get a lot of traffic coming from all over, and we end up referring a lot of those people out and kind of connecting them with the help that they want. And so anyway, that's kind of been the story of ZAF. And so it exists within Nuttall, Brown & Coots, but because it's a tech platform, people from all over visit it.
So if you get a case from out of state, like, are you only able to practice in the state that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're geographically really limited.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is too bad.
Yeah.
We could do a lot more for people if we weren't so tightly limited.
Who does that limiting?
This would be the model rules of professional conduct, the rules of ethics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so each state licenses lawyers. So if you want to be a licensed lawyer in any state, you have to be licensed with that state's bar. And so, yeah. So.
But you don't have to take the bar a second time, right?
In some states you do. Several states have their own bar. Like California, Louisiana. There are others too. Tennessee, but a lot of states have reciprocity. So there is a uniform bar. Utah is a uniform bar examination state.
Mm-hmm.
So I have reciprocity and have been admitted to the Arizona bar, and there are a number of other states that I could also apply for.
So those are ones where you take the bar a single time,
mm-hmm.
and then you could technically transfer, if you will.
Yeah.
Or how does that?
Yeah.
Do you have to transfer? Or you could technically be registered in multiple states.
No, you can be registered in lots of states,
mm-hmm.
as many as you want, but you have to pay bar fees for each state,
mm-hmm.
and then you have to do continued legal education in every jurisdiction you're admitted in.
Right.
And so it adds up. It becomes a lot. But yeah, basically the uniform bar is one element of your admission to the bar in any state. So you have to do your criminal background checks. You have to do an ethics test and all these other things. So your bar score, though, can be transferable. Different states have kind of different notches of like what score you need in order to be admitted at their bar.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it makes it's really nice that there are a lot of UBE states that take that same exam.
When I hear the bar, I know that's the exam to essentially say you are a legit lawyer and you can do this job. When I hear of like certain celebrities or something trying to take a bar exam and passing it,
yes,
it's like there are some times that, and maybe this is totally bad on my part, of like when I think of maybe celebrities taking that, it's like, are you either you're really smart and like I hold the bar exam at like a really high standard. And it's like anyone who passes the bar, like that person's a genius. Like that's awesome. That guy's going to be a lawyer. And then I hear like celebrities taking it. It's like, okay, they're a lot smarter than I thought they were. Like awesome. I'm curious, how does one prep for the bar exam? And like how intense is it really?
Yeah.
I'm also curious, sorry, just to chime in here as part of your answer. Is it required to go to law school in order for you to pass the bar?
It's a very good question. It's all around. Not in every state, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In California, there's an alternative path where you don't have to go to law school
At all.
at all.
And if you just pass the bar, then
If you pass the bar and you meet, they have some sort of a, I don't know, there are some other requirements, but law school is not one of them in one of their alternate licensing paths. So I have some friends who've done it in California. In Utah, you do have to go to law school. And in I don't know any other state besides California. There probably is another state. I don't know it. So yeah, some people have found a way to get licensed without going to law school, which is pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay.
The California bar is notoriously hard, though.
Yes.
And I think New York is also the second most failed bar. When I took the bar, I was told 80% of people pass it on their first attempt.
Oh.
In Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is pretty high.
Yeah.
We were standing in this group of 5 guys, and everyone's like, guys, like, we're all going to pass. And then I looked around and I was like, well, actually, statistically, one of us will not.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
And
one of them did not.
One of them didn't.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you go.
I was talking to someone just yesterday. He's working at a personal injury firm in Tennessee, and he's taken the bar 3 times, and he's failed it 3 times. And he was like, do I stay with it? What do I do? You know, and that's tough.
Yeah.
He actually would be a good lawyer, but he's not a good test taker.
So if someone does try to attempt to take the bar, if they're like, I want to be a lawyer, I think I can do these 3 skills really well. I can articulate, read, write. And they take the bar and they fail, and they take the bar and they fail again, and they keep failing. I would assume there's probably some associated costs with taking the bar. But like, should someone take that as a signal to not be a lawyer, or this isn't necessarily for you, or there should be another aspect of law that you should look into if you enjoy this type of work?
Yeah, I think what a lot of people assume is that if you don't have a bar license, your law degree is worthless, which is, I don't think, quite true. Like I said, I think a law degree can be a passport, not a destination. And you only need a bar license if you're in an active practice of law capacity. And it turns out a lot of lawyers aren't actually doing anything that requires a bar license. And so I think the best thing to do is to take, and this is what I said to this friend of mine in Tennessee. I was like, well, do you actually need a bar license to do what you want to do? I mean, you have a job at a firm. You're enjoying that job. The boss is ready to give you more responsibility, make you like an actual office admin overseeing a lot of stuff. Your pay is going to be good. Do you need to be the one negotiating, settling, filing motions and complaints and going to court? Like, is that what you really want? And he was like, no, I like running the business. I was like, well, then you don't need to pass the bar. Stop trying to, what are you doing? It's expensive. It's time consuming. It's miserable. It's making you feel like a failure. Like,
yeah,
you're not. You'd be really good at running this office. You should just run the office, right? And so, but then there are people who are like, no, I really want to walk into a courtroom, as a barred attorney. That's what I want. That's my dream. And then you just got to say, well, you just got to keep practicing, and you should change the way you're preparing because it's not working. And you asked about what bar prep looks like. It's different for everyone. There are a lot of people who are just so naturally good at test taking, and they're naturally good at writing. And a big portion of the bar is written essay. A lot of
interesting.
The lion's share. And so those people, I mean, they can type 118 words a minute, and it's like, man, those guys crush at the bar. And so the bar prep for them is super easy. But I think for most people, it's one of those things where you just make your plan. There's tons of bar prep courses. You just enroll in a course, one that has, a track record of success. You follow the course, you take the test, and 8 out of 10 people pass just doing that. I do have a funny bar story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh, no, I love funny bar stories.
These are, so a guy walks into a bar. A law student walks into a bar exam.
And he failed.
So we're like literally we're at was it Mountain America Expo Center, the Expo Center that's
In
like
Sandy.
yeah, in Sandy, right?
Yep.
That's where they take the bar. They clear out that whole thing. They set up tables, and there are like so many, right? And we all take the bar all at the same time, and it's like the most secure. It's like the most secure environment you can possibly imagine. It's like comically secure.
Yeah. They got guards at every door.
Yeah, exactly.
A police escort for the guy who has the exams.
The black Escalades bringing you in.
Yeah, I know.
10 guys walk in suits and sunglasses.
It's very formal administration of a test, I tell you what. And so anyway, we're all just standing on the sidewalk awaiting like our turn to go through security. And I'm sitting in this group of guys and I say, well, one of us statistically is going to fail. And then this other guy, who's probably my best friend from law school, he's like, by the way, he's like, my confidence got shattered last night. I was doing like a last minute, like just content review on this one, obscure property law doctrine or whatever. And I stumbled on this whole new thing that I've literally never heard of in 3 years of law school, the whole bar prep course, like the whole thing. I had never heard of it. And I was like, well, what was it? And he like tells me, he's like, oh, it's called such and such. To this day, I don't remember what it was, but it was like this. And I was like, wait, I've never heard that either. What is that? And so he gives me like the 30-second scoop.
Yeah, the skinny, the short version.
Yeah, he's like, well, it's called this, and it's basic. This is the basic premise, and this is how it works. And I was like, oh wow. Well, I hope that's
not on the test.
That's not on the test, right?
Yeah.
And so
it's the first question.
The first question of the essay portion.
Really?
The first question of the essay portion is on exactly that thing.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Had I not,
this guy just saved my life.
Saved my life. I mean, I had never even heard of it. So we all get out of the test, and you're not allowed to talk about anything. Like it's like, it's like very.
Oh, you can't talk about the questions asked or anything.
And we walk out, and we're all like looking at each other, and we're all like look with like knowing looks of like, can you believe?
He's like, so remember what we were talking about before?
Yeah, I know. It was so funny. But now that it's been like years later, we've all had pizza and talked about that and thought like how funny and crazy it was. It was like the most missed bar question in history.
Oh, right.
Like that essay was just an absolute dumpster fire. And I think that it may have just been they do a portion of the test that's not actually graded. It's a test to see if it can be used on a future test.
Oh, the placebo trying to test,
taking the temperature on like a future question.
Yeah,
But anyway, that was hilarious.
Those test takers or test writers messing with them.
I've been asked to be a bar grader on a few occasions, and I can't. I'd rather stick my own finger in my eye
than be a bar grader.
Yeah. Just reading bar essays and grading them.
So what's so bad about it? Because I think you've referenced before, like the bar, start prepping for the bar and taking the bar, like, man, that's exhausting. Poke yourself in the eye. Like, is it just long, intensive?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for being a bar grader, you're reading essays written on the fly about the same question, 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just tedious work. That's like the kind of law work I did not want to sign up to do.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure you get some interesting answers. I mean, I'm sure some of them are pretty funny. But the bar is long. When I took it, I can't remember if it was a 2 or 3 day test. I think 3 day test. Yeah, it was long. It's really long.
Okay.
It's a lot of knowledge. It's one of those things where you kind of balance this like bucket of knowledge on your head, and you just keep filling it up until like surface tension is holding it in, and you just try to keep it balanced until you like walk in, and then you just tip it out,
just
on
dump
your desk.
everything.
Yeah, and then it's like it's gone forever. Like I couldn't pass the bar right now.
Interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much of that was in short-term memory.
Yeah. You just started in short term.
It's in RAM.
Yeah.
So let's talk about being a lawyer, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So when you think about like giving advice to somebody who's considering being one or getting into law or getting into, your particular field of law around personal injury, what's, the good things about it, and what are some of the things like, hey, here's, to go as far as say like the dark side or things that you like, you have to take these into consideration.
People sweep under the rug and don't talk about.
So as far as what is good and bad, it depends on what things you like and dislike. And I think within the law, you need to know what you like and dislike, and then you find the job that lines up with your likes and dislikes. Because what I like about personal injury is what a lot of people would not like about being a lawyer. What I like is I like taking the crazy phone calls and spending an hour with some old guy on the phone trying to figure out if he's got a case. That's fun to me.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. A lot of people are so frustrated by that, and it's like mind numbing, right? But I like that personal injury law is an intersection where it's like everyone from all walks of life are subject to accidents.
Yeah.
And if you're injured in an accident, you're going to need a good lawyer more likely than not. And so I like that I get to interact with everyday people from all walks of life. I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy the fight. I get a charge out of it. It gives me purpose. It makes work interesting. I enjoy the fight. I have friends who've left personal injury because they don't enjoy the fight. It's stressful. Too much conflict. It's yeah, it can be just a lot, right? They'd rather just not have the ups and downs of wins and losses, you know. So those are kind of my pluses and minuses, I'd say. I really like one thing about personal injury that's unique is it's much more family friendly. You can pick your schedule. You're not working crazy hours usually, unless you've got a trial coming. So.
And that's like the worst thing would be, aside from like potentially having to talk to people who have crazy ideas, just like the time commitment as far as like how big the case might be and having to go like the extra hours and like into the weekends for those occasional times.
Yeah. I occasionally have to work late once in a while just to get through. I'm trying to get through records. I'm trying to get a settlement demand written. I'm trying to get a motion or a brief ready.
And you have like deadlines for those, right?
Yeah. Although generally the deadlines are really far out, and if you're good at calendaring, generally it's rare for me to work more than 8 hours a day.
Now I'm thinking about becoming a person.
Yeah,
I love talking to crazy people. It's fun.
You would enjoy it. You would enjoy it.
Especially old men and other people who get breast augmentation.
I slipped on the ice the other day in front of this one office. It was probably my own fault, but I didn't injure myself. But I had a prior injury to one of my knees, so but he's
let's talk
about this.
Tell me more. Had they done anything to remedy the hazard? Was there ice meltdown?
Anyway,
are you sure you're not injured? We should get.
Are you sure?
Actually, now that you mention it, no.
How can someone differentiate themselves from all the other personal injury lawyers? Like, I feel like there is an idea where lawyers can be shady, right?
I'm watching Better Call Saul right now, by the way. Continue though.
Well prepared.
and it's like, okay, there's this thing that happened. I'm gonna tell my lawyer friend and like, oh no, let's sue him. Like, let's get all the money we can from him. It's like, okay, all right, like we don't need to do that. Like, it's just this is kind of what happened. And a case that could be solved with, maybe a few $1,000s, they try to go for like millions. And they're like, we're just gonna burn them to the ground. I guess, how does someone identify a good, bad lawyer, and how does someone make themselves stand out from other lawyers in their kind of genre?
Yeah. Well, to stand out as a lawyer in personal injury, all you got to do is get a nice billboard with your face on it, right?
Yeah.
That'll make you different from everyone else.
And slap it on I-15.
Yeah, put it on I-15, and then you're your own man now. No, I'm just kidding.
So funny.
It is hard to stand out in personal injury. One way that we try to do it is by giving people a DIY route if they want it. And we give unlimited free consults to those people too. And we're banking on those people eventually converting into clients, at least some of them, when it makes sense.
Sure.
And we do. Like it's a return, like we get our return on our investment. But so that's one way we're doing it different. We were kind of untraditional in that way. As far as spotting a good lawyer versus a bad one, that can be really, really hard. Turns out a lot of lawyers really do suck. And every time I hear lawyers talk about this, they're always so defensive. And they're like, actually, guys, lawyers are really good guys. Like, look how cool I am. And like all the lawyers I know.
We're great.
I don't know who you guys are talking to. Like, I don't know why lawyers have a bad rap, because they're all the ones I know are super good. Well, then they don't know that many lawyers because I would say a lot of the ones I know really suck. And I wouldn't give them my case. I wouldn't refer a case to them, right?
Yeah.
And we've had to we've had to interact with a lot more lawyers than most firms because we get traffic from all over the country, and we're just like, oh, we can't help you. Like, I'm not licensed there, right?
Right.
And so we've tried to build out good referral partners and people that we can even co-counsel cases with on occasion. And and we've gone through a lot of partners, and it takes a lot of tries before we get a partner we like in each jurisdiction. So the other thing to know is that the size of the case is not going to be the same with every lawyer. Like the best lawyers will get better results on cases than like there is a difference in what they're capable of producing. And that's something to be aware of. Like, but how do you know if you've got like a lawyer that's going to ring the bell or not? It's really hard to know. It's really hard to know. So I don't know. I don't know how to spot them. I guess just come to me because I know them.
Go to Tyler.
Just ask me because I know at least one really good one.
Okay. So if you need a referral, we can come talk to Ty.
Yeah.
I am curious because, like, when I think about it, like, I guess statistically speaking, to some degree, for every case, someone is losing, at least to some degree. Or maybe maybe this is the wrong perception.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. Okay. Help me.
I wouldn't say so. Most cases, vast majority, over 90%, are settled informally without a lawsuit. They're just informal claims that get resolved, and it's just insurance operating the way insurance should. So, let's say you're at my house with your kids, and I've got a really good dog, and he's in the house, and something weird happens, and Gus bites your daughter, and she gets a wound. She's bleeding. She goes to the doctor. She has to get a shot or whatever. And,
sure.
And now she's got a scar, and she's just a little girl. She didn't have the scar her whole life. What if it's on her face?
Right.
It's very noticeable. Right. So I'm over here. It's not a loss for me to say, Colton, let's obviously, like, you need to talk to my insurer. I'm with such and such a company. Give them a call. Let's set up a claim. And the insurance has a claims adjustment team. They're going to assign a team to it, and they're going to work with you. They're going to get pictures. They're going to get medical bills. They're going to get records. They're going to do all the things. You probably ought to get a lawyer so that you get treated fair, because my insurance may not treat you fair. As much as I want them to, they probably won't. I mean, statistically, they're likely to try to screw you. So you should get a lawyer, not me, obviously conflict of interest, right? But let's get you a lawyer. Let's make the claim. And with the right lawyer, my insurance is going to compensate your daughter for having to live with that injury for the rest of her life. Yeah. It's going to be a big case. That's a big deal. It should be a big deal. And in my mind, I'm not losing because, my insurance rates might change a little bit. But it's not going to bankrupt me. It's not, why I have insurance. So same thing if one of you causes an auto accident and you change someone's life for the worse forever. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a loss for you to be like, hey, I've got insurance and they're going to take care of you. Sure. That's actually a win. I think it's a win-win. There are times, though, where it's disputed. It's like, well, who's at fault?
Right, because we feel like it's a personal attack.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When it's disputed, then it does feel kind of, and then there is a winner and a loser because it's like we're fighting about who is at fault, and someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. In Utah, they apportion fault percentage basis, and if the person who's making the claim ends up being more than 50% at fault, they are barred from recovery. Oh. So your slip and fall, if they argue, if they're like, Tyler, you should have been watching where you were going and you were off of the beaten path or whatever. Well, a jury could say, we think he's 50% at fault, and then you'd be barred from recovery. But a jury could also say, well, there was no ice meltdown. Nothing had been done to remedy the ice. It had been there for days. That's probably on the property owner. And honestly, probably is. And thankfully, you're not like injured worse. Yeah. But
now I think I should have called you a while ago when my car was, I did get in a car accident once that I felt like I ended up having to pay a little bit, and I definitely probably should not have had to have paid because it was not my fault. Anyway,
justice was not.
Justice was not. I'm still a little salty about it. If you can't tell, I'll tell you about it after. I'll tell you about it after the call, after the podcast. Okay, so no, I forgot what we were talking about.
There was one question.
Oh yes, winner or losers. That's what I was talking about because that's my general perception. Or I think like I don't want to speak for everybody, but sometimes like the perception you have as an external person. In the context of like, oh, good lawyers, bad lawyers, and the perception that people often get is like good lawyers win and bad lawyers lose, and it sounds like it's what I'm interpreting for you're saying is like no, bad lawyers can still win, they just won't win as well. Yeah, right.
Or they win unethically.
Oh, okay, that's
ethics.
We don't want that.
We're getting into ethics now.
Okay. No, that's interesting. It's an interesting perspective that I hadn't really thought about. But
one of the questions, Colton, that you mentioned that I didn't actually address that I thought was a really good question is kind of this feeling of like, I don't want to be one of those people that's just like out to get others, right?
Yeah.
I'm not litigious. I don't want them to suffer all that. When we did surveys about why people don't hire lawyers on their claims, that was the most common reason.
they didn't want to seem like one of those
interesting.
people.
They were worried about being perceived as one of those people. So we just called it one of those people, right? A squabbler.
A squabbler.
That's what we called them. You don't want to be seen as a squabbler. So what I would say to that is giving up your remedy under the law is not noble. It's not honorable. It's just dumb.
No one wins, and you're
like, look, there was, someone was at fault. Now, it wasn't probably intentional. Like, it's probably accidental, right? In most accidents, it's an accident, not actually purposeful.
Right.
But you're like, well, I understand it's an accident. So, like, I don't want your insurance to have to pay me because it was an accident. And I'm like, well, you don't understand the system. That's an education problem. Because if you did understand the system, you'd understand this isn't personal. The law was built so that when somebody's negligence puts you at some sort of a disadvantage, you've got bills, pain and suffering, whatever. Well, the law wants to make you whole, wants to bring you back to where you were before that accident happened. It's not a windfall. You're not getting like a whole bunch of extra. The damages are calculated based on what gets you back to whole. And so, anyway, I would argue that there are people who are out there trying to make mountains out of molehills, right?
Yeah.
With their cases. And those people are dumb. And you don't want to be that person. But there are far more people who just say, I'm just going to be the victim and it's not a big deal to me. And I'm the bigger person and I'm just moving on. And I'm like, no, you're just being dumb. You are not using the law. The law was written to be fair and you're not insisting on fair. And I don't respect that.
Yeah.
You should insist on fair. And that doesn't mean you're vengeful. Doesn't mean you're vindictive. Doesn't mean you want bad things. You're not wishing evil on anyone.
Yeah.
You're not inflating your claim either. You just want, let's do what's fair. Let's do what the law was designed to do. And
I'm thinking about, you said a comment earlier about, it sparked the thought of like portfolios or like, I think of like designers or something, right? It's like how to find a good designer.
How you demonstrate your capabilities.
Yeah. And if someone's like vetting through lawyers, and I think maybe this is an appended question to like, how do you spot a good one? Like, are there lawyers out there, or do you keep any type of like portfolio of like, these are our wins? I'm not trying to say like boastfully, but more of like a proof that we're good.
That's a fine line to walk. And the different rules of ethics in different states, which vary a little bit, sometimes don't allow you to broadcast your case results.
Okay.
But generally, most law firms do broadcast in some fashion, some case results. Here are some recent recoveries that we've succeeded in obtaining. And they just kind of highlight those on their website or on their flashy billboard.
Yeah.
I would say generally those are the bad lawyers.
Really? Okay.
Not always. But I think the better heuristic to use on whether to hire a lawyer is when you talk to them, how confident do they seem in your case and how committed do they seem to your case? Because if you're going through, the process and it's pretty clear that like your lawyer's not ever taking your call, you can't ever access your actual lawyer. If you feel like the stuff you say isn't getting passed on,
not landing.
You're not gelling, and that should be an alarm. And you should find someone, because there are lawyers that are available who would work your case really, really hard and do a good job. You can tell if your case is being worked hard or not, and you should insist that it is. And if it's not being worked hard, you should fire your lawyer and get a new one. Yeah. But it is kind of hard to know right at the outset. You have to just kind of see, like, are we gelling?
If your client is connecting with you and you feel like that the lawyer that you're talking to has your back and they're supportive and open in communication, transparent. Okay,
right.
Cool.
Those are all the good things you want to look for. And you can even ask them, be like, on cases like mine, what kind of results have you seen? And a lot of lawyers will shy away from being straightforward on that. And sometimes it's because they don't know what kind of case you actually have yet. Like, it's too early to say. But I try to tell people, like, well, on a case like yours, we got this kind of a result, but we don't know how similar those cases are yet. There's a lot of unknowns, right? And so, I kind of hedge that way. But I like to be pretty candid in valuation, which is risky. But
yeah.
I'm curious then, now as we're getting kind of to the point of wrapping a few things, if somebody came to you and said, hey, I want to be a personal injury attorney, what of things that we haven't potentially discussed so far, what would be your additional advice that you'd give to them?
I'd say it's a great profession. It's really one of the best.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd be very encouraging, and I'd try to inspire them to pursue it.
Is there anything that we have not covered that you're like, ooh, I really want to touch on this?
That someone should definitely know.
One thing we haven't covered is the earlier path, like getting into law school.
Yeah.
And my advice on that is, the LSAT is an important admissions test for most law schools, and just find a really good LSAT prep course and have fun with it. And if you get 165 or better, like you're going to go where you want, and it'll be great. So the LSAT matters a lot for law school admissions, and the variance in legal education quality is really vast. And so be cautious about the law school you pick. So that would be probably my main advice for someone who's really early on listening and like, do I want to go down this path? I'd be like,
yeah,
you want to, it's good, and you should try real hard to get into the law school of your choice. And don't go into too much debt. Like that's another thing. I mean, it's sometimes it's unavoidable, right? But
college is really expensive nowadays.
Yeah, college is expensive.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now's the time. Do you have any this is the time we do like self-promotion. So if you have things that you're working on or like websites or things that you want to share so that people can find you and your firm.
Well, if anyone wants to find out if they have a case, but you don't want to like commit to talking to a lawyer, check out zaflegal.com and play with that legal information tool. It's pretty fascinating. It's eye-opening about the claims process. And then if you want to know like what I would tell like a junior associate on how to value a case.
Yeah.
Which is what people like really want to know generally when I'm like chatting informally. They're like, well, how do you really know how much that case is worth? I have a little document that I will share with anyone who wants it.
Cool.
It's private. Like I don't share it super publicly. But if you just connect with me on Instagram, DM me, and then I'll send you a link to it, and then you can see all the little secrets about claims valuation. My Instagram handle is attorneypreneur. So find me on Instagram, and I'll send it to anyone who wants it.
Cool.
Okay,
sounds good. And ZAF, it's ZAF.
That's right. Yep.
ZAFlegal.com.
Stands for zero attorney fees, because it's for people who are like, nah, I'm not hiring a lawyer no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here you go. We'll help you out.
Okay.
It's probably going to be better trained than ChatGPT.
If you say so. Yeah.
It'll be a little more focused.
It'll be a little more focused. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a little more focused. It's designed to kind of help you build a case summary that you could conceivably send to an insurance adjuster and get fair treatment on your case. It knows the value drivers on a case, so it will kind of elicit that information from you and consolidate what you input into a letter.
It'll make them start to think like you might have a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And then the segue for that lead
and
to
then like, you know what, let's just give him what he's asking for so that we don't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah. No, we've had a lot of people come back and tell us, I just told the adjuster like, hey, I'm using ZAF Legal to assemble this this letter, and if you're not fair with me, then I'll just turn it over to them. I don't know that actually moves the needle, but people have told us they've done that.
All right.
And
cool.
Some of them settle it on their own. Some of them turn it over.
Getting leads. Cool. Well, Tyler, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. And thanks for coming on the podcast.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.